Good evening. Welcome to WSBI, your resource for success podcast program, where you get to meet inspiring women-owned businesses from across the country. And now, for your host, Kimberly McLemore.
All right, good evening and welcome to WSBI, your resource for success podcast program, where you get to meet inspiring women-owned businesses from across the country. I am your host, Kimberly McLemore, and welcome to another night of sharing. With us, we have Angel Riley, founder of ALR, your marketing angel. Angel Riley is founding principal of ALR, your marketing angel, a boutique communications firm specializing in developing marketing strategies for small businesses. With 20 years experience managing multi-million-dollar political action committees from corporations and associations, Angel uses her knowledge of business ethics and compliance, strategic planning, business development, and creative storytelling to help her clients gain maximum exposure for their product or service. Angel is no stranger to entrepreneurship. She is a leader of almost 300 independent consultants for a direct sales company, ranking amongst the company's top 25%. Angel is also the host of her lifestyle podcast, The Chronicles of Doing Too Much. So welcome to my platform, my friend, Miss Angel Riley. Hey, Angel.
Hi, Kimberly. Thank you. That was an impressive bio. I like it.
Yeah, girl, you're doing it, okay? I was like, I read these several times before we come. I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh, God. Awesome. Well, again, welcome, Angel. I am so excited to have you on my show this evening. We have so many great things to talk about. But before we get started, why don't you just tell the listeners a little bit more about yourself?
Absolutely. So as you all heard in the bio, I am no stranger to entrepreneurship. So for over 20 years, I've managed multi-million-dollar political action committees for corporations and associations. And when you look at it in a technical and legal term, they're actually considered separate, segregated fund. So even though I was working for Fortune 500 corporations or, some of the largest associations in the country, political action committee is run separately, independently and separately from the overall organization. And that's just by default by law. So a lot of people might know of this whole thing called Watergate that happened in the 70s. That was something that really kind of helped me out a lot. So, entrepreneurship has always been the thing. Managing PACs, I've actually managed small businesses because everything is separate from the overall corporations. So when I say that I've managed a $5 million business, I truly managed a $5 million business, with most recently managing one of the top 10 corporate PACs in the country. Wow. And that's over 8,000 corporate PACs. So this is definitely something that's been in my blood, even when I didn't realize it was in my blood. And it just makes sense that ALR is launching as it has this past year.
Amazing. I'm sitting here with my mouth wide open like, oh my gosh, you have absolutely been working with some of the top main corporations in the country. And that's amazing. But before we dive any further into that, I want to go backwards a little bit. And I say that because I know you and I've met you several years ago just doing our thing called Zumba, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean,
it's a dance party.
It is, but but the thing that amazes me is that I've been here for a little over 15 years now, and almost everyone that I've met in this community, I've met them through doing Zumba. And that's the thing I love about Zumba. It is definitely a community thing, and it's just that opportunity to meet some amazing people because we just love what we do. And whether you're in the classroom just to take the class or whether you're teaching the class, you just have that connection automatically, when you're at room. So, I mean, like I said, it's been years. And then from that point, we've kind of been back and forth and have gotten to know each other. And, you've grown tremendously. But I want you to talk a little bit about not so much the Zumba. What happened to you prior to Zumba? What inspired you to get into what you're currently doing? And even before that, I mean, it's got to be an amazing story because like you said, you're doing something that you never thought you would do.
Absolutely. And it's amazing that we connected via Zumba because Zumba was truly that launching pad into entrepreneurship for me, as an individual, as an entrepreneur versus just as a corporate employee managing a separate segregated fund.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because in Zumba, I was going to class, and the reason I started taking Zumba in 2011 was because I was getting married and I wanted to drop about 20 pounds. So that was my exercise, my fitness routine, to drop that 20 pounds. And then, 2 years later, I'm still going to the class. The instructor that I was going to near my home would ask me to come up and lead some of my favorite routines. And then after a while, I said, hey, I'm paying money every week to come here, and I'm getting up, I'm leading routines. It was at the local community center. They came in just as a marketing ploy, and we're videotaping our class to put on the local channel. And I said, I can get paid to do this. It makes no sense for me to pay to do the class, to attend the class, and I'm actually participating with the instructor. I can get paid. So I looked into it and figured out and went and got my Zumba license and started teaching. And I was teaching 3 classes a week. So in 3 different areas around the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. And I started setting goals and said, okay, this is where I want to be financially. So I thought at that time that I was going to launch more into fitness and do more group exercise classes. But the longer I was teaching, the more Zumba started to feel like a job to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I pulled back on the classes, and I started at that time, I was getting a lot of information about if you do what you love, you'll never work again. And I was feeling like I didn't love it. And I was getting to a point where I was doing 1 class a week, and I was so stressed to go teach the class. But of course, once the music comes on and you get started, you're exactly where you are, where you want to be. And it was just like, okay, this is not the path in terms of the activity, but the whole concept of what I'm doing. I'm an independent contractor. I determine my own schedule. I determined, what routines we're going to do. Reggaeton is my rhythm. I love reggaeton. So I was going to, that's my rhythm. I love reggaeton. I probably was a little too reggaeton heavy in my classes, but it's okay because we got it in.
Exactly.
But like really feeling that and understanding that passion. So just that whole passion down of talking reggaeton and how passionate I am about that particular rhythm lets me know, okay, there could be something else that I was more passionate about. So I started looking into expansion of what can I add to the Zumba brand, because I didn't want to let, my students down. I love to see how I had mostly female students. I love to see when they were meeting their weight loss goals and how much more confidence they were exuding. And when they started the class, they will have t-shirts, baggy t-shirts and baggy sweatpants too. I know when they hit that first 20 pound in weight loss, because then we were getting fitted outfits and coordinating outfits.
That's
and
right.
get there. Exactly. And then, you would get a little bit more swirl, a little extra. I'd be like, okay.
Get a little grown is really what it's about.
And they was getting way grown. But I mean, God, I was like, okay, y'all just too sexy for me. I got to step it up as an instructor, because my students were getting just, amazing results. They were feeling good about themselves. And in return, that was showing me success. That said, I was successful as an instructor because at the end of the day, my goal was to help others reach their goal. And that in Zumba right there said, that's what I want to do. So I started looking into direct sales to do an add-on for Zumba. And that's how I got into my direct sales company. And I said, it's nothing but God. God had all of this stuff lined up because he said, you have been running small businesses in your career and didn't realize it. Now, you're taken away from, you're still doing that, but you were doing Zumba as a side hustle. I joined my direct sales company on a Wednesday in January. That following Sunday, and I'm talking, Kimberly, when I say literally that Sunday, which is 4 days later, if that went Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 4 days later, I woke up with the most excruciating pain I've ever felt in my life. I could not get out the bed. I was just crying, and my husband was not home. He was at work, and I just laid in the bed, cry. I could not move. It was like a paralyzing pain. And I just didn't know what to do. I couldn't even roll over to like grab a phone or anything. I mean, I wish we had the Amazon products then so I could have gotten help.
Right.
But after about, I mean, it was terrible, but after about 45 minutes of just laying in bed crying, the pain, subsided enough for me to get up, enough to move, to call my husband, tell him what was going on. He called the ambulance for me to go to the hospital. And long story short, I got bursitis in the hip.
Wow.
So I wasn't able to teach because, I couldn't, things like walking was painful for me as I was going through the recovery process. And the thing about it was that it pretty much it stopped my Zumba career at that point because I needed to heal. But it was also playing on me mentally, to go from being in optimal health to you can't walk, you can't run, you definitely can't bounce around, you definitely can't give a little pony, in class, you definitely can't, switch those hips when you're doing that reggaeton, so everything that I loved about Zumba was just instantly taken away from me. So I poured my all into the direct sales company, and I didn't realize it, but I was pouring in strategies and principles I learned as a PAC director into my business. So as a PAC director, I'm fundraising, I'm fundraising for a cause, for whatever the issues that particular company that I'm working for at that time care about, what our members care about. And, so I'm fundraising, I'm making sure everything we do is ethically sound. I'm establishing and cultivating those relationships. That's all that you would do in business development. And all of those skills were transferable into my direct sales company, and my team started flourishing. And I was just doing the things that I was doing at work, and I was getting paid for it, and I was having fun, and I was enjoying it. And that's pretty much how I got to ALR, just saying, I love this, and seeing the change. One of the things I tell, my personally sponsored consultants when I'm coaching them, I always say, get ready to blow your own mind. And they'll say, okay, Angel, whatever. And I'm like, no, get ready to blow your own mind. Because when you coach, a coaching session is a two-way exchange. I'm going to listen to everything that you have to say. I'm writing it down. And then the second part of that conversation is I'm just going to help you to look at all of those points, all those goals you say you want to accomplish. I'm just going to give you a little oomph, a little extra perspective, a different perspective on it. Or I'm going to challenge you to really push yourself, because at the end of the day, I'm paying attention to you individually, and I'm going to respond accordingly. Which is the exact same thing I had to do when I was asking someone to give money to my political action committee. I knew who I was going to start. The maximum amount of money you can contribute to a PAC is $5,000. So I would basically study each of my people and say, okay, I'm going to ask him for $5,000. I'm going to ask her for $2,500. I'm going to start with $2,500 from this one, but I think I'm going to get $1,000. And I was just taking that skill set and putting it with my team. And if they did the work and they really followed the plan we laid out, very quickly I would call and say, give me that update. And they're excited, or they're calling me, talking a mile a minute about all these great things are happening. And once they finish, and I'll say, so tell me this, did you blow your own mind? And then it's like, Angel, oh my God, I don't like you, but yes.
But they finally got it. But the key was they got it. And they didn't understand it in the beginning, but all of this transitioning turned out to be exactly what you told them was going to be. And the thing I love about your story that you've told so far is that the Zumba was what got you to where you're at. And then realizing that one little tragedy had to even push you more into wanting to do something that you should have actually been doing. But a lot of times we as human beings never really go with our first mind, even though we say, oh, you should always go with your first mind. We always kind of stand back. But the experiences that you have gotten from working in that corporate arena has absolutely blown my mind, to realize that you have been working with such high-end individuals and corporations, and then now you're taking and using that same aspect of what you've done for them and now doing it for yourself and doing it for many others. Your consultants are at the top 25% of a ranking company, a huge company. And that says a lot about who you are and the people that you are bringing on board. So talk a little bit more about those individuals and what you've helped them accomplish.
Yeah, it's hard for me not to get emotional talking about my direct sales team because, most of the people I've sponsored, right now I have a team at the moment that we're speaking now, I have a team of 272 consultants. I've personally sponsored 40 of those into this business, and they've built it into the 272, and it's 6 levels, which is just amazing looking at that. But the thing is, most of the 40 that I sponsored, I do not know. Like, I met them through social media when I'm set up vending at an event. That's how I met those people. And it was always something that was about, whether it was my personality or if they saw how I was making money. It was something about me or the business that attracted them. So when they came in to the business, several of them had goals. And like any direct sales company, some people, fall off, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I hope they got what they wanted out of this business in the time they were here. But they just came in motivated with goals. All I do, and I really wish I could say, oh, I'm this wonderful leader and I'm doing all this stuff. I'm a hardworking leader. I'm a servant leader. I'm an observant leader, but I also have failures as a leader. But the one thing that I can say is that I have a team that's receptive. I have a team that respect me. Even if they don't agree with a lot of the things that I'm teaching, or, they don't agree with some of my recommendations, they still respect me. And it's a two-way conversation. And we meet one another where we are. And that's what has exploded this team. That's where it has taken us to the level that we are at now, and to the levels that I know and where I'm projecting us to be in the next 2 years. Wow. And we will be in the top 1% very sooner than I think, but we will.
Right.
It is insane. Yeah.
But
that's it.
I'm going to I guess, got to interrupt you for a second, because what you just said was powerful. And what I mean by powerful is that you said that respect for one another. That is so important in everything that you do, not just in business, but in life in general. And like you said, it's not about you being the best. It's about you guys learning about each other and meeting them right where they are and helping them to elevate to be where they want to be. That just says volumes. And those are the things that are missing currently in a majority of businesses. Even just your when you're going out here, like I constantly complain about customer service, because people are not meeting people where they're at. They're not looking at them and valuing them for who they are. It's just, oh, here's a job, give me the money and let me just give you your product. There's no more of that building that rapport and just respecting people for who they are, for even just walking into their store or buying your products or listening to, what you have to say. So I have to truly commend you, because I'm hearing this excitement in your voice. I mean, you like, and I know you, Angel. I'm like, yes, girl, you got me over here. Okay. Beating my table over here. I'm like, woo, I need to be on her team. I need to get on my team. I was like, oh my gosh, because you exclude that excitement. It's like, you want to make me get out here and sell the world. Okay.
Exactly. Well, that's good. That's what ALR is supposed to do. So.
Well, oh my gosh, keep it going for sure. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Right. But the second part of that is, it's not only the respect and the back and forth, it's also the confidence. And the one thing, when I look at over my life and all things, like, I was doing well in corporate America, but I didn't have the confidence that I was. I always felt like, okay, you know, when I started in my career, you can count us minorities on one hand. But, you know, the color of your skin means nothing to me. All that matters to me is what your heart is like. And, you know, so exactly. I mean, that's this truth.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's never said enough.
I
never
agree.
Paid attention enough.
I agree. And, you know, several of my friends, like true friends that I've made just in industry over my 20-year career, they are not the same race as I, you know, and it's a thing where I would pick up that phone and just say, hey, like right now, what I'm doing is I'm building my ALR practice. I'm picking up the phone and I'm calling folk that I've been friends with over my 20-year career. And not one person has backed down to say, no, or I can't help you. Everyone has connected me with someone. I'm constantly hearing, how can I help you? And that's just because of that genuine friendship, but it's also the confidence, because the one consistent thing that I've been hearing as I've been on this solo journey is, Angel, you're so confident. You're one of the most confident people I know. And I'm not.
Well, look, put it this way, you know how to fake it if you're not, okay? Because like I said, I'm sitting over like, ooh, I need to get busy. You know, I want to jump on your team. But that's the key, though. It's like, you know, it's still a part of your journey of learning who you are, and still a part of growing. So it's okay. We all go through that process of not being confident. You know, 1 minute we're like, you know, high on that horse. The next minute's like, okay, why am I doing this? You know, you sometimes you feel foolish, but it is, if you don't go through that process, then something is wrong. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. But talk to me a little bit about like the challenges, because you have gone through some up and down challenges. I know there's a couple of times where you shared on social media about, you know, having to move from state to state when you were working in the corporate arena. And then it's like, you know, you're back here and one day it's like, okay, it's over. And now you, like you said, you've started this new paradigm for yourself. And it had to have been some major challenges within that. And that's a part of growth, as we all know. But talk a little bit about that and bring that substance to the table, because I think it's important that people understand that, like, you know, people look at us and just see that glorious shell, you know, like, oh, they're so perfect, you know, and people just don't understand what you really do go through. So just talk a few minutes about that.
Right. Well, I'll start out by saying, going in and pushing ALR full time the way I've been doing for the last 4 months was not planned. It was not planned. So I left. I'm no longer in corporate America as of May 31st of this year, and not planned. And it was, I wanted to get away from managing tax. And honestly, I wanted to go into a corporate social responsibility role. I'm very active in the community. I just love helping and empowering people, period. And so I was applying in a corporation I was with, you know, a great corporation. I mean, wonderful place. I spent 8 years there, longest place I ever worked, you know, a Fortune 50 company. And I was applying for different positions in the corporation, and I was actually I received a leadership program for mid-level professionals, you know, to take you into it was designed to take you into the executive level. So they sent me to Texas, and it was at a time where life hit me. You know, I'm now divorced. I didn't know my marriage was in trouble to be hitting divorce. So I truly had to uproot from the Washington, D.C. area where I'm born and mostly raised, and go to Texas, which I can count on one hand how many hours I ever been in that state.
Right.
And, you know, and it was great. You know, it was perfect, what I needed. I'm still running, getting on, you know, getting myself together. And then 18 months, it was a 2-year assignment. 18 months in, the corporation promoted me into a permanent position and relocated me back to DC. And
like, okay, so, really? Like, y'all could have did that while I was here?
Exactly. So in 18 months, I separated from my ex-husband, got divorced, sold the house, moved to a new state, turned around, moved back to the DC area, bought a house. Oh, and by the way, when I got promoted and I assigned the acceptance of the offer for the new job, I started the new job in 2 weeks. So I came from Dallas to DC within 2 weeks and hit the ground running. Yes, nonstop. And 3 months into the job, there was a reorganization. And the director that hired me got promoted to a vice president role. Very well-deserved promotion, great. Only thing that happened to me was I went from an engagement team to the corporate-based team. No big deal. I loved my job. I was working as hard as I could. And then 2 months after that, I'm in Dallas at a conference, and my new director calls me into a room to say that the job was reorged again. And I would no longer be doing the job that I was hired to do, the job that I made that decision to come back to the DC area to do. So at first it was a thing of, what do you do? And I tell my team all the time, and I say, if your 9 to 5 is taken from you today, are you going to be okay? And at first I was going to stay in corporate America because the option was take the new job, or like any reorg. I mean, it's standard, or you can leave. And when I thought about it and I prayed about it, and I was in Dallas, I was able to go to my church and hear my pastor. And she said some things that were, meant for me about how something was heavy on her, and how God said he wants to bless you, but you have to get out of your comfort zone. And I mean, saying that right now just gave me chills. And that Monday, I did what I had to do, flew back here to DC, and they got the notice that I was leaving. And I said, I'm just going to try my luck with ALR. If I feel that I need to go back into the corporate arena, I'm employable, but I'm going to go back on my terms.
Amen. Yeah. Say that again. Going back on your terms. So yes, living your life the way you need to be living it. Yes.
Exactly. And I told my girlfriends, I said, we really have to look at things. And this is going to sound really strong with the word choice. But I said, I was a slave to corporate America, and I didn't know it. And I didn't know it because they had all these talents. I talk about that lack of confidence. I am confident because I'm educated, because I'm knowledgeable. I'm not afraid to take a risk when a risk is necessary to be taken. And the thing about that is we have to evaluate ourselves. So that's how ALR came about to being this thing. It's not because I planned this out and I have $1 million in the bank. No, this was, you know what? I want to empower people. I want to help people get to reach their goals. That's how I define success for myself. So don't be a slave to corporate America or anything else. Yes, do you miss that big paycheck and the steadiness of it? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, I love getting up in the morning. I love doing everything that I do. I love, making the calls and hearing people tell me they're not interested in my services. You know, I love getting that because at least I'm stepping out there and I'm following my heart. And that's success.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you just knocked this out the park. Okay. I mean, everything that you're saying is beyond the truth. You have preached tonight, girl. You have preached. Okay. Like, woo, listen. That's why I'm like, I don't need to say nothing else. She got this. Okay. I mean,
thank you.
You truly have set the tone. And, we hear this a lot. People say this a lot. They talk about their journeys and what they want to do, but you are truly living that dream, and you're taking those baby steps, and you're moving yourself all the way to where you need to be, and where you want to be, and where you deserve to be. And like you said, we all have fallen into that prey of being the slave in the work arena, because we are, every day we know if we don't show up, you don't get paid. It's the reality. And we also realized the day that you lose that job, that the reality is you have to sit down and figure out, what am I going to do? How am I going to make it? And it was so ironic that we're having this conversation. I happened to be reading a story earlier today online about a woman right here in the DC area who had also lost her job just recently, and she's turned her apartment into a art place. She actually draws and paints art, and is literally overnight has made herself a business and has done quite well in that business. But what it just proves to you every day is that we don't live our dreams. And a big part of it is because we are fearful. We're so used to being told, all you do is you go to school and you get a job. You know, that's just that normal life personality, because that's that comfort zone that people have of thinking that that's the way the world should be. But on the other side of it, we all know that there are many people out here who haven't gone to school. They're very intelligent. They're living their dreams every day, and they're worth millions and billions. Millions anymore is like it's the norm. So. Exactly. I have to, like I said, I applaud you so much because, I've known you for a while, and I've known some of the things you've been going through. You have shared everything because you are very open about that. And you truly make people realize that you're a human being, and that we all go through this process, and you're touching people's lives every day and teaching them how to maintain everything it is that they desire to do as you're going through that same journey. So, you definitely have to pat yourself on the back every day and say, you know what? Thank God I finally opened my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Absolutely.
It is. I mean, it's life changing. And if my testimony and my story can be an inspiration and encouragement to someone else to get to the level that they want to be, I'm always open. I'm always free to share because, many people think my life is a breeze and it's always happy, but you don't know this story. Like you don't know the 40 plus years that has built me into, ALR. You don't know that story. So don't look at that outside, because everything, the advice, the temperament, the frustration when I had that frustration, but the success, the push, the motivation is all comes from that experience. And that's why I like to be open, because so many they hide, and I tried to, but I couldn't. God said, girl, if you don't tell the world this story, but you have to.
Right. And you were actually, like you said, pushed into it. You really had to make some important decisions. And that's a huge thing to do, is to get up and say, you know what? I don't need this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. And, like I said, it wasn't because you didn't have a job. They're like, here you go. This is what you can have. But it takes a huge fear to just get up and say, I'm not going to do that. I know I can do this and do this better for myself, because that's what I've been doing. So, like I said, it's not easy, but you're doing it every day. And the thing that I love is that you've also taken your journey and you turned it into the podcast, The Chronicles of Doing Too Much. Love that podcast.
Thank you.
Because you're constantly talking about you.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, and that's the whole thing. It's to come out, talk about the experience and how to overcome. So we actually are launching season 2 next week. So I had to do some recordings and everything. So season 2 is going to be juicy. And we're going to be talking about the ups and downs of when you're thrown into business. What does a day look like when you don't want to get out of bed, because you want to have a it's me day, like, girl, if you don't get up and go exercise, like, right. So, and that's what the Chronicles are about. I have more interviews coming, because like my girlfriends and I went to Essence Fest, so that was funny. Those are some funny episodes.
I bet
5 of us, but yeah, definitely. So next week the Chronicles will be released in season 2, and so we have 5 episodes in season 2, so that'll go through for 5 weeks.
Awesome.
I'm super excited about that.
Well, congratulations. I'm glad to hear that you're bringing that back, because I loved you being on my platform for that, and I'm just so proud that you even stepped out for that, because that to me was very eye-opening, and you had so many stories, and you were just very raw. You were very open, and that's the thing that I loved about the Chronicles of Doing Too Much. So,
and I'm coming back. I'm coming back to vigilance. When God says I can't, I'm coming back. Trust me.
Everybody's like, what's vigilant? Yeah, everybody like, what is she talking about? That's another show, y'all. That's another show.
Another show. Yeah.
Yeah, but I do want to say, I just got a couple more questions for you, as we are definitely at the end of our show for this evening. But I would like for you to tell everybody how they can get a hold of you, and where they can listen to your show and all that good information.
Okay. So the best way to get hold on. So right now, my major platform is Facebook. So Angel L. Rowley. That's really easy to find. You can also just follow the hashtag on both Facebook as well as Instagram. Hashtag Your Marketing Angel. So that's the easiest way to get a hold of me. My website will be launched, I think, in a couple of weeks. So once all of that will be on social media. And then, of course, by email, if you want to talk more or have any type of consultations, and that's at angel@angelrally.com.
Awesome. Well, it has been such a pleasure to have you on the show tonight. Do you have any last words for our listeners?
Just go for it. Suck up any fears that you have and just do it, because you will be surprised how strong of a tribe you have. And at the end of the day, more people want to see you succeed than want to see you fail. So get that thought out of your head. You have a tribe that's going to help accelerate your success.
That's right. All righty. Very well said. And again, Angel, it has been so much fun having you on my show this evening. Thank you for your time. I know you're busy, out there creating all these great things for the world. So thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And for everyone else, we are here every Thursday evening at 7 p.m. We have some other great, amazing guests coming up. We have next week, Mr. Arthur Brown from Impact to Success will be on the show in October. Oh, my boy. You guys have no idea what I got coming out in the month of October. So keep your eyes and ears open. And if you'd like to be a guest on this show, I'm already filling up for 2020. So make sure that you reach out to me at Kimberly at WSBI LLC, or you can also reach out to me through KMM123McLemore@gmail.com if you'd like to be a guest on my show. And when you do provide that information, make sure you have a short bio that you provide in a picture and a logo of your business. And if you have any other questions, like I said, you're more than welcome to reach out to me through my Gmail account. You can follow me at Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram. I'm on all social media platforms. But until next time, I will be back here same place, same time at 7 p.m. Have a good evening.
Good night, everyone. We will be back next Thursday evening at 7 p.m. Follow us on Spreaker, www.spreaker.com/user/WSBI. View our new WSBI website anytime at www.wsbillc.com and on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram.